Hello, I'm Joshua Smith, and welcome to the new episode of Captain Cinema's Entertainment Explosion. Today's guest is
Dr. J.R. Briscoe.
and we are here to talk about a movie coming out this summer, which is very highly anticipated, the Flash movie. But we're here to break down our favorite moments of that trailer that aired during the Super Bowl. We're a little late, but you know what they say, time flies. So, JR, we'll start with you. What is your top three favorite moments of that trailer?
Well, first one for me, Michael Keaton coming out, get on the platform, he comes forward, and then he says the iconic words, "I'm Batman,"
Yep,
right?
that's on my list.
That is a direct tie to the 1989 film. And yeah, I know people probably think it's super cheesy, but
No.
that's what I was raised on. That's what I watched. That's what really got me into that character. And so him saying that was just kind of a hallmark, a throwback, and for the older fans.
Yep.
And I mean, he's the original Batman of our modern day cinema.
That's true. Honestly, between "I'm Batman" or "Let's Get Nuts," he could have said either one of those, and I would have geeked out. I would have geeked out a little bit, but that's actually on my list too. So I will piggyback on what you just said. That moment, him stepping out, introducing himself, you can't beat it. That is like for Marvel fans seeing Toby and Andrew, for us Batman fans seeing Keaton back in that cape and cowl.
Agreed.
Swear to God, that was like chills when I saw that.
Yep.
All right. What's your second favorite moment?
Well, my second favorite moment was this movie's been in, what they would, the Hollywood underworld for so many years. I mean, since 2014, since they've been talking about it, and they hired Ezra to play the Flash. So it's been a long time, but I did not realize that, or think, or maybe it wasn't known, that it's going to be in the same world that Man of Steel was taking place. So when it showed Michael Shannon playing Zod, and then basically clips from, whether it's the original Man of Steel movie or reshoots or whatnot, Man of Steel for me is by far one of the best Superman films to have come out. I know it's not, and not to bag on everything before that, but this was something that people have been wanting to see. When Superman became more assertive in comics and lore, the films didn't quite capture that until Man of Steel. And so seeing that Michael Shannon reprises his role, knowing that this is happening during a pivotal moment in the DC universe, I got really excited to see that.
I will say, seeing Michael Shannon return as Zod, I would love to be in that boardroom when they pitched the idea. Say, okay, so listen, you're coming back as General Zod. We're going to redeem your troll transformation from Batman versus Superman, because God knows everybody hated that. So we're going to put you back to your badass state like you was in Man of Steel, and then the fans will go wild for it. And guess what? We have.
Yes, we have.
When his face showed up on the television screen like it did in Man of Steel, again, goosebumps.
Very excited.
For me, my second favorite moment of that trailer was obviously continuing with Batman. The Danny Elfman score, just loud and proud when he leaps off and kicks some ass. Loved it. That is probably one of the most, I mean, everybody has, like, when you're a superhero movie at least, you have a very iconic scores.
Yes.
That is by far probably one of the most well-known superhero scores of all time.
I would agree. To rank it, it would probably have to be second behind Superman, Christopher Reeve's score.
That one's very iconic as well.
Those two, doesn't matter where you go. And in fact, if you go to Six Flags or some of these theme parks, those are the two songs that are very recognizable. Even though maybe people have not watched the films,
I agree.
They know where they come from.
Exactly, because one thing Marvel can't say is they have like a distinct sound, but Batman and Superman does. They always have, and you can even argue to say that Wonder Woman has a distinct sound, like the da 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 da, like that real heavy guitar.
Exactly.
She's even got her own thing going. So yes, the score playing in that trailer, again, I couldn't have been more thrilled. It really, I felt like a kid watching this trailer.
Yeah.
And I can't even imagine what it's going to be like sitting in the movie theater.
Well, I agree. It brought me back to my childhood.
Yeah. Which is, so funny because I was not a kid during that time, but that was one of the first Batman movies I did watch, because Batman Forever was the first one I ever saw in theaters. So it probably is extra special for you seeing Keaton. I mean, come on, he still has it.
Oh, I agree. It's still there. I mean,
He does
I know
still
he's
be-
aged, but he still looks like Batman from what I remember.
He does.
So-
And honestly, I don't know how much they paid him, but it was worth every cent.
Yeah, I think it was.
Yep. All right. Third and final favorite moment.
So this is going to sound really nerdy and
Hey,
and
we're all about that
ridiculous,
here.
but yeah, it was the scene where Barry, Ezra Miller, is basically flying in the Batwing, and he
Yes.
looks out the window and he sees Supergirl. But what got me was the Batwing was a pivotal vehicle from the 1989 Batman. I mean, I remember the toys. I remember it was a superhero with his own jet. And so, but what I really liked about this film was it was the small details that they paid attention to. If you're going to do something this big, or you're going to go back 30 plus years to bring forward an iconic hero and an iconic actor, and also that universe, like, you have to pay attention to the details. So if you go back and you watch the trailer, you'll notice that there are like bolted rivets of sorts that are going around and up and down around the window, and so it could have just been sheet metal, could have been anything, but those bolted rivets are iconic because that in Tim Burton's version of Batman, it was a very gothic theme.
Yeah.
Very a neo-gothic theme of sorts, where it was all about being dirty and dark, and major uses of metal and machinery. And so seeing something like that, I was like, they really did their homework in making sure that this was something that was going to seamlessly connect.
Yep. I agree with that, because if you're going to do Burton's and Keaton's Batman, you have to go back. I mean, they could have easily done away with the super pointy ears. No, they kept those because they know that's what fans want. They could have got rid of the yellow outside of the Bat logo. No, they kept that because they know that's what fans want. And the fact that we're getting him after so many years is not only special to a lot of people, but it's going to introduce him to a whole new audience.
Exactly.
And they're going to go back and rewatch those movies, which, by the way, are all on HBO Max. Watch them. I have to say, for my third and final, again, sticking with Batman because that's where I'm at, love seeing the suits, all the different suits.
Yes.
When you zoom in, if you're lucky enough to find a good screenshot, we have like the underwater Batman suit. You have a desert Batman suit, but the one that caught my attention was the blue and gray, which automatically just puts me in this thought like, wow, if Keaton would have stuck with being Batman for just 2 more movies to continue, like if he was instead of Val Kilmer or George Clooney, don't get me started on that one. But we could have had him in multiple suits that would have paid like a great homage to the comics, and that's what we all love to see. So those suits existing, like, brought my imagination to life. Like, wow,
Right.
could you imagine?
Yeah, the blue and gray suit is something that just goes back to the comic books. I mean, when you talk to people like that, it's the comic book Batman is what they often refer to. Movies come later, of course, but the comic book Batman has always been blue and gray until, 40 years ago or so, when they started moving away to closer to dark colors. But even then, today, like when you look at the New 52 series, you still see blue and gray hints and traces and throughout the uniform. So seeing that whole scene where he's got every suit, I can't help but wonder if he's going to have to actually abandon the suit he's wearing to put on one of those other suits.
I think that'd be awesome.
Because if you look at some of the movies that have come out, like that's what, like, Schumacher's, Batman Forever and Batman and Robin, they had the original bat suit got damaged and they had to use a prototype or something else.
Such a great scene. Such a great scene for that movie as well. And I will say that the detail in the mask, the blue and gray, is straight out of Frank Miller's The Dark Knight. And anybody who is a comic book nerd will pick up on that straight away when
Yep.
you zoom in. You're going to see it. It has the muscled eyebrows like already featured in it. So badass. I could not love that trailer more. The only thing that kind of took away from is seeing Ezra.
Yeah, I mean, and we were talking about that. Ezra, not to get too political or too go back, but just he's had so many run-ins with the law and the media and causing trouble. We were joking about him being the reason why the DC universe is being rebooted. There was just so much.
That's true.
And he's done a great job, mind you. Looking back at Justice League, and then and the setup getting into that, and Zack Snyder's Justice League. The whole point was we needed somebody who could act the iconic, nerdy, hyperactive Barry, and he did excellent work. But at what cost?
Yeah, it's really hard to separate the actor from the personality that he has put out into the world, and I hate to say it, but his personality sucks.
When someone's caused that much negative attention, it could hurt this movie.
It could. That could be the one thing that tears this movie apart. I hope not, but
I hope not either. I hope, as much as there's a lot of people who are excited about the new DC universe and coming forward with James Gunn, there are some of us who are a little sad and remorseful, with not being able to continue on some of these storylines. So this is it. This is kind of the last hurrah, and I hope that it is done well.
Oh, I hope so too. The fact that they managed to keep Keaton, put the Flash in the Burtonverse.
Yes.
The fact that a Kryptonian. I think I might have read this somewhere, but I think Superman doesn't exist in in his universe.
Correct.
It is her.
Yes.
It is Supergirl.
Yes.
Which is amazing. So excited to see her power up. Cannot wait. I will say an honorable mention, and if you have one, I would love to hear it. But an honorable mention, because this wasn't in my top 3, but it's worth noting that we are definitely getting a different version of Flash in this movie, and it might be his darker alter ego Zoom, because you can see the black boot and the blue energy coming off in one brief moment of that trailer. They're they're kind of racing off, and I'm excited to see what that full costume looks like, because Flash has a pretty decent amount of villains that I actually personally like, so it'll be interesting to see what Zoom would look like. Any honorable mentions for you?
I am just interested to see all of this come together and see how that works.
Yeah.
Again, this isn't just happening in Michael Keaton's Batman world. Remember, you've also Ben Affleck is supposed to reprise his role as Batman as well. So we're getting 2 Batmen, 2 Flashes at least.
At least.
We will have a completely different Superman, in fact, Superwoman, along with some reprisals of previous acting gigs, like Michael Shannon in doing Zod. So it's going to be interesting to see who comes and goes and how they're going to be able to do this, and also to see if we're getting any more special cameos. We could get more. I would love to. I mean, originally Henry Cavill was supposed to be Superman again, and reprise his role, and Wonder Woman was supposed to be in it. So I hope. I know James Gunn wouldn't want it, but I mean, if they've already done the principal photography for it, just put it in there.
Well, it was a pleasure talking to you, JR, and thank you for nerding out with me yet again. I mean, talking about the one thing that we love. We love DC, and we want to see them do good. So thank you for being on the show, and thank you all for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.